Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we're live on a Monday, December 20th at 11:34 a.m. And today, of all days, we're approaching the new year. Legacy markets are pushing up against moving average support. I wouldn't say, the title of the stream is hyperbole. It's an exaggeration, but there's clearly a strong deflationary impulse going on in legacy markets today. If you look at futures, if you look at the equity indexes, they're getting hammered, relatively speaking, relative to what previous dips, pushing up against the 100 SMA in the daily. That's a dip for ants compared to where the markets are. Folks looking for significant mean regressions. I mean, a 200 SMA on the daily takes us to about 4350, give or take. If you go out to the weekly, you don't even see the moving averages. The 100 SMA on the weekly is at 3750. So there's significant room for depreciation from a mean regression standpoint. Now, folks have been talking for the last year, hypothesizing what is this market? Is it different this time? Is it not different this time? And I would argue it's a combination of many factors and many possibilities, and in many regards speculative. There is a great deal of certainty in that the odds are we're going to have a significant risk off event at some point. You'll have a capitulation down, a massive wick, and a massive buying opportunity. The question is that something that someone necessarily wants to or is equipped with a skill set to exploit and capitalize upon? Doesn't really matter, and I would argue the vast majority should not be thinking in those types of terms. I tend to align my ideology with Raoul Pal. Have a longer time horizon. It's okay to not make as much gains as possible. And I'm going into 2022 thinking significantly about tax management. So I don't want to sell. I don't want to lock in capital gains. And if it's higher than where it is in 2023, 2024, I made the right choice. I've minimized capital gains exposure. I have appreciation relative today, and I miss out on the sale and the buying opportunity at the depreciated price. I don't have time to buy and sell, and I don't have the stomach. I don't have the mental fortitude of a 20-year-old Wall Street novice broker that could sit there watching the chart, looking at the technicals, looking for a ridiculous deflationary impulse that's on the horizon, which it is. I don't have that in me. And the vast majority of people that watch me and actors in the crypto space don't. Most people do not succeed at trading, which definitely pushes our conversation towards that of being most successful with a longer term time horizon. Where do we see the markets in a year, 2023 versus today? Half of 2022, middle of 2022 versus today. The Fed put. Does the Fed intervene? Can the Fed even tolerate a deflationary impulse? And these are big questions like Luke Groman talks about. Will there be a deflationary impulse? That's the realm of Jeff Snyder and Steven Van Meter. And I agree with them. If there's going to be a deflationary impulse, they're the boys you want to watch. They're the sportscasters. They'll tell you play by play what the heck's going on and why it's going on. But Luke says, why? Well, how can they tolerate a deflationary impulse if they need the tax receipts? If you let the economy crumble, how the hell are you going to prop up GDP and get the taxes you need to service the debt and entitlement programs such as Social Security and Medicaid? It's not possible. So can they even let the system go through austerity and a strong recession or a depression? They can't tolerate it. I think Luke said we were at 130% debt to GDP, and they inflated it away to about 120 something percent debt to GDP, but the target really is around 70% debt to GDP. So they need a jack up GDP in order to keep the system producing the tax receipts necessary such that the debt is smaller than the GDP, debt to GDP. These are all rational observations from leading macroeconomists that give rise to the way I look at these markets. Now, clearly, I don't have any meaningful exposure to legacy equity markets other than assets that have a 2030 time horizon. I don't give a crap what things do between now and 2030. I bought stuff in 2016. I've been sitting on it for 4 years. I can sit on it for another 9 years. Don't need the capital. And I have a vision of where things will be in 2030. Now, most people want to know what to do, to sell, to buy, to how to handle their fear of, curve went down to $2. Oh, it's back up to 250. Ah, it's back up to 275. No, it's getting away from me now. So, if markets go down, it's okay to be afraid. It's okay. So, how do you look at these markets rationally? How do you make rational decisions? Have you invested capital that you need for rent? Have you invested capital that you need to pay student loan debt or mortgage? And that shouldn't have been capital allocated. And that's not an excuse to lose capital. It's certainly not an excuse to lose capital. But this isn't about this game. To be successful in this game, it's not about making or losing money. That's a red herring. Making or losing money isn't how you're successful or judge success in the crypto space or just allocating capital in general. How you judge success is whether you have a vision or not of the way things may or may not be in the future. And successful capital investors, allocators, place their capital where the system will be in the future and capital will flow to you. That's the whole ideology I talk about planting seeds. 1% bets, 1% to 10% changes everything. 1% bets are a seed, and you let it grow. And then the portfolio is a manifestation of something you saw, hopefully earlier than later. And the 1% turns to 10%, and the 10% turns to 30%, and then it goes down, it goes up, and you got other assets. And now you have a portfolio that is a construction, it's an evolution, it's an iteration. And that's exactly why I tell everyone you can't have the portfolio construction that I have. I would never in a million years craft the portfolio nowadays the way I currently have it. No one in their right mind would deploy capital and the size, the position size that I've done it. The portfolio is a growth. It's a growing entity. The percentages, the percent balance that I infrequently tell folks has evolved, has emerged. It wasn't chosen. The assets have grown to the position size that they are. So we're going into 2022. S&P futures look like they're going to fall off a death spiral cliff. We'll take a look at the charts. I'll give you my opinion. Yeah, I want to look at a tweet. We'll start this off with two things. We'll look at S&P futures. Nope, that's spell. On the daily. So it's pushing up against the 100 SMA. That's a solid candle body thus far. This is a very precarious situation. For the last year, we haven't breached the 100 SMA for more than a couple of days. We had a couple of days that were fearful back here in October. Didn't breach it in December. And we'll see. The breadth here is horrible. There's no higher highs, albeit this is clearly a level. That's actually quite interesting right there. You see the candle body closes? That's a very consistent level. I mean, if this was the crypto space, you could be like, if you're bullish, dare we say we're bullish? Equities, fuck equities. But let's take some lines to it for the fun of it. Let's see how the daily closes. If the daily closes above that white line-ish, maybe you got a trend. Maybe you do have a ridiculous ascending triangle at the top of the largest bubble in the history of modern equity markets. But there is a trend there. There's two lows and currently is pushing below it, hitting support on the 100 SMA, maybe it wicks back above. And that's clearly an upper bounds. That'd just be naughty. Does it really come down to what the Fed wants to do? Do they continue? Do they reverse course? Do they get more dovish? Do they bump QE? Do they talk? Because really, it's the guidance that moves markets. It's not necessarily the actions. The markets are forward-looking, so they're really pricing in guidance. Well, if there's a raise of rates of a quarter, whatever, a couple basis points, that's already priced in by the time those basis points get clocked in, or the taper. Tapers, the price action adjustment is clocked in way before the taper starts. Let's see how bearish this gets. Bearish is a buying opportunity. It'll allow people that didn't get entry into the most powerful assets to get entry. We got curve here. I mean, look at that. Second bar of the pitchfork. Wow, above the TWAP on the weekly. The chart looks fabulous. It gives a shit about the 50 SMA. The 50 SMA is a weak symmetrical moving average. And it's still riding it. It's above the TWAP. It's above the TWAP. It's above this green line right here. That's a freaking heck of a green line. This is the green line. This is the tell-all. You wick down to the bottom bar of the pitchfork, but this green line was previous resistance for months, and this is the entire lifespan of the asset. Let me find that tweet that I did. Looking at the 2022, I have one thing in addition. Yeah, here we go. Narratives for 2022. Same as cross-chain interop, stuff like, oh my God, what's the name of it? Well, clearly Ren, but, oh my God, that's how important it is to me. I barely remember the name of it. Oh my God, there's a bunch of cross-chain interop. So cross-chain interop. I'm sure you guys will post in the stream various cross-chain, Thor chain. Oh my God. And there's a bunch of others. Layer 0, clearly AnySwap and the like. But this is the narrative for 2022 that I see. Disintermediated protocol managed arbitrage, cross-chain liquidity provisioning, MEV mitigation, and capture systems. So that's like a Keeper DAO and a Popsicle Finance type stuff. Widespread deployment and iteration of the current monetary policy, known as the big pivot of Euro finance. You got Spirit Swap that has it as well. You got Pickle that has it. You got Fix Forex and Keep the KP3R that has locks. You have Frax. So this is my expectation for the biggest narratives of 2022. I expect that curved monetary policy has been empirically proven to be game-changing. It was an experiment, and it's powerful. Not only is it powerful, but because we see the price action of a hyperinflationary currency. Holy crap! This is the most ridiculous chart. It tells such a story. This is a hyperinflationary currency. That's not in hyperinflationary price action decay. That's crazy. So I expect that price action thus far for the last year and a half since launch, it's empirically proven the viability of it, and we've seen duplication. And even Andre created that, implementation that allows easier duplication of it a while back. So now I think in 2022, we're going to see a lot of protocols pick it up and pick it up strong because it's powerful. It really changes everything. And it encourages engagement and consumption and accumulation rather than liquidation. And that's what we see in the price chart. For a hyperinflationary currency that has such a supply increase on a daily basis, not go down, but actually go up. That's what Curve has created. No sovereign nation in history has ever done anything like that. What an experiment. What an experiment. And in 2022, if we see additional duplication, emulation, iteration, that's just further confirmation of how ridiculous the monetary policy is that they created. Cash flow above all else, boys and girls. Cash flow above all else. If an asset isn't paying you, you're speculating and gambling, borderline degeneracy. And the bottom line is the post I wrote before this. Where is it? Assets need to pay people to hold them. Otherwise, the entire market for the asset is at the mercy of degenerate scavengers that will sell at a moment's notice to capitalize. If an asset isn't paying a person, every schmuck with a Coinbase account is going to sell the shit out of it because they're peeing their pants that the system is crashing. They have a deflationary impulse. Doge, Shiba Inu. Shit's going to get hammered if there's a risk off. Holy crap. You thought 2017 was bad, Doge and Shiba Inu. The price that they've gotten to, it will be destructive. People spent a fortune at 75 cents on Doge. And it's going to go to pennies. Because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't pay you. You don't get nothing for your money. On the other hand, Curve, you have a deflationary impulse. What do you think's going to happen to the transaction fees? Ooh, the cash printer. Cash printer, that's what it is. And Spell, what do you think about liquidations? So that post earlier by Squirrel about the improved liquidations engine, that's just good for the market. And it's frankly brilliant. I think Daniel and team, Squirrel, Sifu, all of them working on Wonderland and Abracadabra, Popsicle. Yeah, they have the right mentality. And, you know, they have the community building efforts. They have what it takes. And they've shown that they're genuine thus far. And that's motivating and uplifting and exciting because that's what really we want. What they say is we want to change. We want to change. And this is a system, a different system, and it's in pursuit of disintermediation. Unfuck yourself from legacy banking. Be part of the system. Be the bank. This type of ideology. You couldn't do it. You couldn't deploy it. You couldn't engage any of these types of ideas 2 years ago. You couldn't do it 2 years ago at all. But now you can. You could be different and do different things. You can't do any of the shit in legacy finance. 5% on Realty Income Corporation will get you nowhere. Negative real rates. $1 an orange. Oh my God. Oh, so okay. We hit the charts. The spell chart looks ridiculous. I can't believe last week's close on Sunday night closed above the weekly TWAP. This chart's crazy. It's up like 13,000%. It was an 85% retrace, 170% rip to the upside, finding resistance on the 10 SMA, the 10 SMA in the weekly. That's crazy. So we pushed below the weekly TWAP. We're way above these short-term guppies because it's just a relatively new asset. Can you imagine this week? This is the week. This is such an incredible week. At the top of it all, look at the TWAP. That's an inclined TWAP. If this week does not invalidate the previous candle with like a bearish engulfing, dare we say a lower low? Wow. If this breaks above the 10 SMA, that is the craziest price action I've ever seen. If this breaks above the 10 SMA on the weekly, which coincides with the 0.5 and the fib retrace for the whole history of the asset, back to initial launch price, which nobody got. This was basically initial liquidity, 0.00004, give or take. Nobody bought there. That was initial liquidity in the dexes. This price action's crazy because it pays people, because Daniel has the narrative and the story. The frogs fuck the suits. What a story. There's few assets, boys and girls, in all of the crypto space that have such a powerful story. You know, what else is novel? Novel is a Olympus Dow and the Forks, and Wonderland's just a powerhouse. So how do I look at those? I took a position briefly and I exited it, and I got it at a good price, and it would have been nice to get it speculatively, but I don't need exposure to that shit, and I'll explain why. My position currently is that the treasuries, the crypto treasuries, which is all of them, redacted. There's a bunch. What's the other one? I don't even remember it at this point. There's so many. I see them as red herrings. There are a powerful way to accumulate a treasury, which one is sucking assets out of circulating supply for a discount. They're selling them for an asset created out of nothingness, which has a market and sentiment and market actors that create the price action. Great, wonderful. Like Ohm and Time, and there's speculative reasons to think that they're good investments. If Time went to $10 next year, you will have doubled the value of a position. That's how much interest the asset cranks out. $10. That's crazy. It's over 2,000 and change dollars, or whatever the heck it's at today. It's not designed to asymmetrically appreciate. It's designed to go down in value. Do you understand that, guys? Same with Ohm. It's designed to go to $1, less than $1, just print more and more, and accumulate more and more treasury. And Ohm is backed, and it's a wonderful. Ohm is backed. It's a wonderful, novel concept, but I don't see it as a position that I want exposure to now, currently, the way I'm thinking about things. But what am I so excited about? Not that as a position, but what they do to the market. And they draw in, I'm not to no discredit of persons that have it, that are listening to me at the moment, but they draw in capital, which accumulate assets, and the bonds, the bonds, the bonds, the bonds. Olympus and Wonderland are sucking assets out of circulating supply into, an increasingly illiquid state. Redacted from Tetranode. Oh my God. Yet another actor influencing circulating supply of Curve and CVX. Holy crap. There's immense disinflationary and transitory deflationary pressure on Curve. Immense. To the point where a hyperinflationary currency is straight up disinflationary, if not deflationary. That's extraordinary. I mean, seriously, in the history of central banks and monetary policy, that is extraordinary. It's novel. And it's not just Curve, it's the dynamic. It's the way all these pieces fit together and all this shit is working as a system. I'll get to one thought about 2022, but I wanted to say that about, like, is it different this time? If the market's going to crash and you don't sell and we get into a bear market, are you a bag holder like in 2017? There was nothing. There was nothing in 2017. 2018 and 2019 was pure pain. There was nothing. These assets did nothing. They were ICOs. They were vaporware. They had no function, no purpose, no meaning, no utility, no cash flow. They did nothing. Of course they went to frickin' zero. Is it different this time that these assets have function, have utility, contribute to a system that is executing and operating and is alive with cash flow and monetary velocity? Yes. Is it not different this time that shit can get hammered and hammered hard? No. It's the same. It's different, yet it's not different. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, boys and girls. I am in a current position to be a bag holder. I didn't do it in 17, 18, 19, and I think I was like late 19 when I actually had the comfort to start accumulating again. It's like a year or two that I did nothing. Well, I did buy a couple of masternodes. Like I ended up getting them at the bottom, like Blocknet, Syscoin, Zcoin, which is now Firo, and StakeNet. Syscoin's been doing well. That has a potential with its EVM implementation. But point being, I have no interest in liquidating any assets. Even I don't care about bearishness. I am not exposing myself to capital gains. I am not. The quantity of assets I have is the quantity of assets I want. I'm not dropping the quantity of assets I have because of fiat tax obligations. I am going to pursue 2022 as follows. I'm not touching a damn thing. I have my positions. I busted my ass to get these positions. We worked through 2020 and 2021 to get the position sizes we have, to find the assets we have, to structure the portfolio based on narrative, rational narrative. These assets have meaning. They're not just nothing. There's millions of people that have, well, most of those people have frivolous, shallow understanding and appreciation for what these assets are. But you hear the way I talk, I have passion. I see this shit for what it is. This is some next level shit. I understand what these boys are doing in macro land. I understand central banks. I hear the macroeconomists. I've watched the crap out of Real Vision. I understand the deflationists and the arguments of whoever, the detractors of the crypto space. Oh, it's nothing. It's going to get crushed. Holy crap, they built a system that has monetary velocity out of nothingness. The evolution of where we are compared to where Bitcoin was when it launched is an extraordinary evolution. There is a relationship between Ethereum and Bitcoin. It came from Bitcoin. I'm a damn engineer, man, and that shit is insane. Iteration. And where we are in DeFi compared to ICOs of the last cycle. Oh my God. The story, the narrative is an epic tale of engineering, software iteration, and evolution. It's an insane story. It's so different this time. And that doesn't mean price action. There's reason to be afraid with regard to price action. And then there's folks that face fear head on. In it for the technology. I'm not in it for the technology or the price action. I'm in it because I saw some shit that the vast majority of this fucking planet can barely understand. I'm in this shit because I have conviction in what I believe. This stuff is crazy. And anyone that tells you otherwise isn't a software engineer. Peter Schiff, damn, man. He, oh, only gold. Gold member. This is crazy tech. This is crazy tech. It, it's really cool software looking at the contracts and what they are. I write programming. I program Android for a living, and I see these contracts, and they're not the most sophisticated. This very complicated math, but the data structures are the same. The collections are the same. The way state is maintained. This is all the same throughout software. And that's all a balance is. That's all your magic number of coins is a value in a collection. It's downright fascinating. Software. It's breathtaking. And then you look at like Yearn's contracts, and they're so eloquent with their structures and how they've decoupled implementations and modularized um, components. Their code implementation is eloquent, poetic. You heard that, band tag? That shit is poetic, boy. And the way you run the operation, or however the team runs the operation, I've seen post-mortems from Yarn back in the day. And their post-mortem was breathtaking. So the way these protocols are operating as software agencies makes corporate software seem pathetic in comparison. Breathtaking, boys and girls. 2022. I'm going to tell you guys the way I'm handling it. Let me see if there's any comments I could hit to. End of year analyzer, Tapsy, it's a pleasure. Igor, Eigerman, Asun, Crypto, Bentley, Yotam, Josh, uh, Gridbrain, my man. Risky Crypto, it's a pleasure. Wesley Dillon, Crypt. Dan's in the house. Pleasure. Crypt guy. Can you run through how you lock and make ROI? I'm getting CVX through CVX, but only seeing like 4% return. Yeah, because you lock CVX. CVX gives you 4% return. You can gain access to bribes. Vodium.app is how you get about 40% return on your CVX on a bi-weekly basis. Opting for CVX CRV is the cash flow asset of choice for the curve and convex ecosystem. CVX is arguably, the way I argue it, for protocols to accumulate to control the current monetary policy, whereas CVX CRV is the cash flow accumulator. Hope that helps. Cover this topic for months and years at this point. I'm not going to digest it again at the moment. Happy Christmas, Brian. A pleasure. Thank you. Dominic, good morning, Cap. Back for another one. Yes, indeed. Dan, it's hard to balance locked down on positions with wanting to continue to DCAing into positions to achieve ultimate percent of portfolio based on conviction level. You're damn right this isn't easy. But, there's strong reason to think you're going to get some deep discounts soon. I mean, look at ES. This thing's getting hammered, boys. Up, a bounce on the 100 SMA. Look for the daily close above that white line. Can you imagine into year's end this ascending triangle resolves to the upside? Crazy, crazy. Plenty of macroeconomists say valuations are different. Then you have mean regressionists. Then you have the deflationists that say there has been no monetary inflation. Clearly, there's been CPI, consumer price inflation, but monetary inflation, and that plays into the euro dollar. International fiat forex markets, and basically the demand for the dollar, Brent Johnson's ideology, and how there's an unending demand for the dollar, and all the other nations are printing their shitty fiat, which is getting shittier and shittier, which means they're going to print their shitty fiat and buy the dollar, so the dollar goes basically vertical at some point relative to other currencies, and that just fucks up the entire international balance of economics. So I would argue, his milkshake is for the dollar, and that's just such an obvious direction the whole system is going to head. Dollar is going to go vertical, DXY, and where do equities go? U.S. equities up, because the rest of the world's equities are fucked. U.S. equities are going to go vertical at some point, relative to the rest of the world, which doesn't necessarily give insight into actions to take. I still see the crypto space as the place for capital. I don't care about macroeconomics with regard to their implications for equity markets. I'm way too excited and interested in the engineering and the software, and that's where I think most comfortable, where my capital belongs. I have unending conviction at this point for 2022. I don't give a shit if there's a deflationary impulse. I know where my capital belongs, and I'm ridiculously excited for these protocols that continue iterating and being consumed. The fight over control of current monetary policy is such an epic story. Oh, don't you guys see where this shit's going to be in a couple years? I'm going to go back to work after this, and I'm sure everyone's going back to work. This capital has no bearing. This capital has no bearing on my capacity to meet debt obligations or service my overhead. I work. I pay my bills. I don't spend more money than I make. Pay my rent. Well, I pay my mortgage. I pay my gas bill, my electric bill, my car loans. I have a balanced budget. Everything you do here with investments is mutually exclusive. Compartmentalize this shit. Think of it as something else. It's not capital you're dependent on. You're building a frickin' business out of capital, and you're going to structure it in such a way that in the coming years it's going to be productive. You're forming and forging it, and you're going to let it evolve into something that could work for you, so you can unfuck yourself from legacy finance. You got to work for money. I'm tired of working for money. I have no interest in retiring by the time I'm 60. No interest in that shit. People wasted their entire lives. We can do better. We can do better. And that's what has evolved with the Incoomer meme. Incoomer. That's my favorite meme because I'm an Incoomer, boys and girls. We get some comments, and I still have to tell you guys what I'm doing for 2020. It's hard to balance lockdown positions. All of Danny's projects count in that cross-chain theme. They all play a part in the story. They all play a part in the story. I hope I highlighted my opinion about the treasuries, so I hope that helps there. But my popsicle and my ice and spell positions are not going to be touched. Not going to be touched. They are what they are. I have such low entries in them. Literally, I don't have to touch. I'm not touching them, and that's part of my 2022 strategy. Do you have thoughts on opportunity costs when taking a run position currently? I don't know what a run position is, my friend Dan. Ren VM. You clarified. I don't know. It's very hard for me to give an opinion on taking a position now. The whole system could have a deflationary impulse. And Ren was at $1. It was at $1.70. It was at like 50 cents right now. Maybe that shit gets hammered to 20 cents. I don't know. I have the luxury of having a 6-cent position. So I'm just chilling. It's all good. I know where I want those nodes operating, and I will not give them up over my dead body. Hey Noah, I'm equally bullish on ICE and Phantom, so I wanted to provide liquidity to FTM, ICE Pool, and Spooky and get paid 50% APR to hold them. Is this an income strategy? Only you could assess whether it's a good strategy or not. Bear in mind, there's a permanent loss associated with that position. 50% APR is good, but bear in mind, the way you got to look at LP positions is that you no longer have FTM and ICE. So if you're interested in the ICE narrative, if you're interested in the FTM narrative, an LP position isn't for you. An LP position is for 50% return on the money. If you're interested in 50% return on the money, that's what an LP position is for. You got to look at LP positions as a derivative asset that has constituent components, but you have to forget about the constituent components. Because if ICE goes to $300, you're screwed. Sorry, just being very clear cut in that regard. LP positions, you no longer have the constituent components. You're looking at a derivative asset that's just pure return on investment, ROI, cash flow. So, yes, it's good for income strategy, but you no longer have reasonable, rational exposure to FTM nor ICE. Larry's in the house, a pleasure. Dan, I do not have that rook position. Larry Capital's cool, Dan. Locking Geist, generating curve on platform. There's a variety of ways to try and outperform. There's a variety of ways to accumulate assets. Geist Blizz probably still have something to them. I still have microscopic positions, but they were minuscule. They were 1% plays, and now they're a fraction of 1%. They've been completely obliterated due to hyperinflationary depreciative decay. Not enough APR to make up for the impermanent loss, in my opinion. Crunch the numbers with an IO calculator. JL, my man. Crypto Bentley. I like those little emojis. Should be more ICE opportunities soon on Polygon with Uniswap coming to it. Yeah, I can imagine ICE in a year from now. Time horizon, boys and girls. Please rate your interest level in these four assets as long-term cash flow. Want to start focus accumulation on one of them. Would love your opinion. FXS, Time, Keeper, ICE. I have a high opinion of all of them. I'm not going to get too nuanced. I don't like encouraging the choice of an asset. I don't like telling a person to get one thing over another. And the best I could offer you, my friend, is the story of all of them. And I think I've hit on that. Even in this stream, I didn't talk about Keeper that much, maybe briefly. But it has the curve monetary policy, FXS, curve monetary policy. ICE is the cross-chain liquidity provisioner. And that's what I showed you guys in the tweet earlier. You can scroll back. And Time is just going to suck assets out of circulating supply. That's powerful. But I think it's a red herring. I'm more interested in the assets it's sucking out of circulating supply. Garrow, hey Noah, greetings from Northern Macedonia. It's a pleasure. Love catching you live in the afternoons. Yes, indeed, enjoyable. Thank you. I appreciate it. Random question, Noah. Do you be weightlifting? No. I still got a little something from my childhood, though. I used to be young once, and I used to be healthier. 2 kids will change that real quick. Should it? Maybe I just let myself go and I use that as an excuse. Thoughts on BTT and torrenting community? Not on my radar at all. Hilda's in the house. It's a pleasure. Dylan, aren't you in time heavy? No, not at all. I don't have a position. What's your time entry price? No, I don't have a position at all. Killis, hey, how are you? Earman, Ohm, LP, Visor. No, I don't want to give it a second look, my friend. Thank you very much. Klaus von Bob, gas is cheap right now. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, my friend. Ahmed, hey, Noah, do you see any key man risk of investing in Icebound Time? What happens if Danny disappeared tomorrow? Those assets would be screwed. I'm the zombie. Good morning, everybody. Kill us. Hi, Noah. What's the best min position currently? I don't know. I don't have any stablecoins currently. L's in the house, my friend. You and your awesome view. What are you walking by some crystal clear river with a babbling brook and a waterfall in the back? Oh, God bless you, my friend. Shabby, hey Noah, did you ever feel like being too late in crypto since you started? Unfortunately, for many, well, fortunately for me, no. I've been here since like 2014. It's been a heck of a road. It's hard to take entries, and I could appreciate the sentiment that a lot of people are feeling. Maybe someone finally grabbed the moxie to get involved yesterday, and they see red, and this is such a story, and we have over 500-600 streams at this point. I have over 500-600 streams at this point. And where do you begin? I don't know. I don't know. It's a personal thing, acclimating to this space and starting to understand it and make decisions and how to start to engage with it. That's not something I want to get into at the moment. But I empathize with it, and that's why I have AskVid, and I can help the best I can. And I will continue to do these streams to help be the end of the year analyzer, as said earlier in comments. Andrew, good morning. Daniel with Sorbetto Limon, borrowing against a nice coming. Woo! That's going to be hot stuff, boys and girls. Man, the complexity with ICE is that it had a ridiculous asymmetric appreciation and a blow off top. That thing went to 60 and crashed to 10. That's painful. Painful, because I don't think it's going back to 60 at any time soon, unless there's some sort of catalyst. It's going to take a while. I mean, look at red. It hasn't breached that 170 blow off top. Hasn't breached that 170 blow off top. It takes a lot, and there's a lot of irrational exuberance, and it took us to prices that are just unfathomable. You know what didn't have a blow off top? Curve didn't have a blow off top. All right, fine. If you consider like 6 and change, that's a blow off top. Look at this weekly candle. That's ridiculous. There's no blow off top here. There's no $30 and then back to 5, and it goes from 5 to 7 for like 6 months. There's no blow off top here. Spell is just, every chart has a different story. That's the deal. Every chart's got a different story. I mean, this had a blow off top for 3.8 cents, and it crashed down to 0.6 cents. 85% retrace. That's crazy. This is an insane chart. And for it to find support and to go through this cycle down to the 0.786 so quickly, that is a massive, massive regression. This is a healthy chart. If you took a position at 3.8 cents, it might take some time to get back there. And frankly, the trajectory it's on, it might not take that long. It just launched on Gemini. It got Coinbase. It's got everything that matters. It's a heck of a story. It really is. Heck of a story. Kingsley, have you finally acquired some time? No, I'm not interested in a time position. Let me see if I get any comments before I wrap up my 2022 thoughts. Never heard LP explaining like that. Yeah, Dylan, my man, gotta think different. Ooh, yeah. Metal Bum, yo. Smooth as a radio host, smart as a crypto savant. Thank you. Some would say I got issues, but I don't know. I just have fun with this shit. Bees Irish in the house. How are you, man? It's a pleasure. If we are the same age, then you are young. I'm young. Young is relative. I feel good lately, though. What's up, Noah? Spell looking strong. That's right, Enoch. How are you? Yeah, man, this chart looks crazy. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to take a position. The TWAP could fail. ES could roll over and slam into a 200 SMA on the daily. And we could have some serious pain in the economy. In fact, some people just expect it at this point and are angry that it has gone up so far, that the market is so irrational. But I see the crypto space right now actually is not very irrational. In fact, this price action right here, I mean, sure, these massive wicks on the weekly are quite irrational, but this is ridiculous price action. It's a ridiculous story. Compared to what? Well, look at this chart compared to what the fuck is this? This is your stock market. And people are, look at this thing. Look at this. And then look at this. Holy crap. The damn crypto space looks gorgeous compared to the equity markets. This chart is a dream compared to whatever this monstrosity is. What is this garbage? This is completely uninvestable. There's nothing remotely interesting in the technicals of this chart. Except other than the macro observations, like this was the .com, this was the this was a great financial crisis, and this was COVID 20, March 2020. But otherwise, this is just a stupid chart. This is stupid. There's absolutely no logical or rational reason to have a position in this garbage. It tells a stupid story. This tells a stupid story. This tells an elegant story of novelty, of innovation, of iteration, of novel monetary policy, the hyperinflationary decay, 2020 DeFi summer, Bitcoin risk off with the derivative cascade, stabilization going into 2021, 2021 breakout of the historic symmetrical triangle compression, blow off top, support on the weekly TWAP. 1, 2, 3. Going on 4 weeks of support on the weekly TWAP, pushing back up against the 50 SMA in the weekly. This chart gets me excited. You know what doesn't get me excited? This stupid chart. It's boring. It's disturbing. You want to look at a disturbing chart? Look at USD TRK or whatever the ticker is. The Turkish lira is getting absolutely crushed. 2012 Enigma. Holy crap, I caught you live. Just want to tell you thank you for spreading the knowledge. Much appreciated. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Got my daughter some of those little JJ creatures. That's some cute stuff. That was a Coco Melon. The kids are going crazy over it like Elmo back in the day. When I was a kid, it was Elmo and Cabbage Patch Kids a little bit before me. But that JJ stuff, Quantified's in the house. Hello. Hey, Noah, thank you for showing up for us and offering rationality for us. You're the ballast of the stormy seas of crypto. Yeah, these are stormy seas. These are stormy seas, boys and girls. Any info on improvements coming to Spell Tokenomics? Yeah, it's iterating. Look at the reduction in emissions. Look at the restructuring of emissions. And they're focusing on the bribe, the CVX bribe rather than direct incentives on LP positions. His goal is to have zero emissions and for it to be just a pure profit protocol implementation. And frankly, even at this point, I think they just could keep cutting incentives to participate in pools. There's just too much reason to participate in the pools without the incentive. It's not just a capitalistic play anymore. It's a whole system of feedback and balance and there's plenty of reasons to have MIM other than just an incentive system on an LP position. Crypto Yogi, what setting to use for your guppies? Just normal. I change the colors, I think. No, I don't even change the colors. I do change the colors, but I usually change like the 200 SMA, 200 EMA to like a white line, but that's about it. Um, Uh, Fenor, thank you for all the alpha this year. Discovered your channel. What do you think of Real Vision Crypto Insider tier? Are you a subscriber to that tier? I am not. I was a big Real Vision subscriber, like pro for their macroeconomics. And I personally don't need the crypto analysis. I am the crypto analysis. I love their content. I love their personalities. Um, I uh I really like the macro. Dan Moorhead, Dan Tapiero, and just all of them, and Raul. And I like listening to Luke Roman, Lynn Alden, George Gammon. I like listening to Jeff Snyder and Stephen Van Meter for their contrarian thoughts. It's always nice to hear Brent talk, Brent Johnson. So I love these guys. These are the guys that they have an understanding and they tell a story. And my understanding is a derivative of their understanding. It's an aggregation. It's a construct. That derivative is the best way to express the way I see it. Um, I don't have a subscription. It's a heck of a subscription. Listen, Fenor, that a subscription to Real Vision might be the best Christmas gift you could give anybody, given they actually give a shit and they sit down and listen. But to understand these systems will change lives, because you're not going to get anywhere working unless you're a freaking doctor, lawyers, or there's plenty of. I don't know. I take it back. There's plenty of work that could significantly outperform. The only thing that outperforms inflationary decay is enterprise and employment, because that keeps up with inflation. Not not retail employment, minimum wage type stuff, but when you're a professional and just keep bumping your rates, and because everything is nominally priced, people will pay it for professional services such as lawyers and doctors and whatnot. Anyway, Kronos Epoch, wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Austin, Captain, what's the deal with market overreacting to Omicron? They're probably not overreacting. Um, it's going to cause some serious disruption. That doesn't necessarily entail death. The complexity is really all of the reaction from the government is about overcrowding of hospitals, which doesn't even need serious illness. Just need a large part of the population to become sick and they don't know what the hell to do, so they all freak out and they all go to hospitals. Bam, hospital gets overwhelmed. Now you got a whole publicity shit. Now you got 1,000 people waiting outside of a hospital. That's gonna fuck up the economy, and they're not even dying, and they're maybe not even sick. They just are worried and are fear. So this whole thing is about controlling fear. So I sympathize a lot with how they have to manage things, because it's not just about epidemiology and the risk of serious illness and death. This is all about a system of control and organization. And what is an economy? An economy is just a way to organize labor and behavior and maintain civility. So this is really a whole story of maintaining social order. It's complicated, but it's not as simple as most people think. It's not just about a virus. It's not just about they want to control us. It's not entirely conspiratorial. It's about social order and civility and stability and fear, and controlling the fear of the general public that doesn't know shit. General public just plays the game, doesn't really understand a lot of things. True, I'm a convert and have been a Real Vision Pro subscriber. Yeah, I know the deal. Followed Raul since 2015. Big stuff. I think he's one of the most important people that anyone could listen to. So, yo, my Yinkun brother, it's a pleasure. Dominic, love getting out of work early. Catch up on quality Noah time. Happy holidays to you, too. It's a pleasure. Booster, Elizabeth Warren trying to save us from the evils of stablecoins and high Ethereum gas fees. All right, 2022, I'm hands off. I'm not touching a damn thing. My portfolio is set in stone. It is locked. Seeds have been planted. It has grown into what it is, and it's going to be what it's going to be. I got the most ridiculous tax obligation for 2021. It is painful and nauseating to think about how much I'm going to fork over to the government in October, tax season, because what's 0.5% interest on a monthly basis? Nothing that the crypto space can't outperform. So I'm going to fork it over. I'm going to do my Token Tax Pro. I'll do my reconciliation. U.S. government will have an insight into all the shit that I've done in the crypto space. They're going to get paid. And I'm not touching the damn thing. So how am I going to pay them? I'm not touching anything. I'm going to accumulate my curve yield, my convex, CVX CRV, and I'm going to pay them. It should take me about June or July to accumulate enough capital to be able to make payment. Depending on how Spell does and how its emissions and payment process or payment implementation evolves, might get some income from there. But I will not, and you guys hold me to it, I am not going to screw myself with taxable events in 2022. 2022 is the year of unfucking yourself from taxes. Ha! We're going to do it differently, boys and girls. And I'm going to harp on this. Buy low, sell high, you're screwing yourself. Everything is minus 30%, minus 30%, minus 30. Where the hell are you going to get with minus 30% all over the place? Trading, what a waste. Got to look at this shit differently. You got to play it differently, and I'm going to play it differently. And 2022 is going to be an interesting story, and it's going to be a pleasure to share it with all of you and tell you the story. We're going to have fun. We're going to have a lot of yelling and a lot of screaming, and that's apparently what I do. Apparently, I just yell and scream about everything. Oh my God! Boost to the new Matrix! Yeah! Oh my God! Oh my God! I'm so excited for Wednesday. Of course, I got an HBO subscription. I'm going to watch that shit. Bullish 2022, complicated. It's complicated. I'm bullish on the shit being meaningful, and I know where my capital belongs, and I'm comfortable. All right, I'm going to drop it. Monday, December 20th, 12:34 p.m. I wish you all a wonderful week. We're going into Christmas. I won't have anything on Friday. I should have something. I should speak Wednesday. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I wish you all a wonderful day. Tell everyone to subscribe. Maybe that's a good Christmas present, telling people to subscribe and come by. And I'm happy to talk to them and help them to the best of my abilities make better decisions. Be more rational. We can do better. Be the bank type stuff. After party on Discord and hit me up on AskFit. I'm happy to help the best I can. I will see you guys on the flip side Wednesday. Peace.